If you ever Googled, "Am I abusive?" after a fight and felt sick to your stomach reading the results, this video might change everything you think you know about yourself. Because what you're feeling might not mean you're unkind. It could mean you're in survival mode. It could be something called reactive abuse, though I prefer the term reactive defense. And today I want to walk you through the 4 biggest signs that your anger might actually be a response to emotional harm, not proof that you are the one causing it. I'm Elena. After 33 years of marriage and 35 years in the couples therapist chair, I've sat with hundreds of women who come in convinced they are the toxic ones. They list all their crimes, the yelling, the outbursts, the moments where they lost it. But here's what I tell them. A reaction doesn't come out of nowhere. If you poke a woman over and over again, quietly, privately, in ways no one else sees, and she finally snaps, is she vicious or is she worn down to the bone? In emotionally harmful relationships, the person hurting you is often the calmest one in the room, while you look like the crazy one. Because your anger might not be a sign you're dangerous. It might be a sign that you're disappearing. The setup. Let's break down how this actually works. Because if you're in it, you know. Your outburst didn't come out of the blue. It came from what I call the poke. Reactive abuse or reactive defense usually builds up over time. It's what happens after your feelings have been ignored, your boundaries crossed, and your reality slowly chipped away at again and again. Let me give you a picture here. Imagine someone is standing on your foot. At first, you ask nicely to move. You're ignored. You ask again firmer. He tells you not even on your foot. You're imagining it. But the pain is getting worse, and so you start to cry. He rolls his eyes. Finally, it hurts so bad that you shove him. And in that exact moment, he gasps and says, "You're so aggressive. I can't believe you just did that." That's the setup. The poke is usually invisible to outsiders. It's the sarcastic comment whispered before a dinner party. It's the smirk when you're trying to express pain. It's the refusal to answer a simple question. And over time, your nervous system gets flooded. You're stuck in fight or flight or freeze. You explode not to control, but to be heard. To say, "I exist. This hurts." But here's the part that stings. The person hurting you wants the reaction. He wants you to lose it so he can point at your behavior instead of his. This next one is pretty powerful. Number 2, the reality check. So how do you know? How do you tell the difference between making excuses for bad behavior and realizing your anger is coming from pain, not power? Let's do what I call a reality check. This brings instant clarity. You have to look at the difference between the instigator and the reactor. In a healthy relationship, when one person gets upset, the other tries to help calm things down. They say something like, "Whoa, I can see you're upset. Let's figure this out." But when emotional harm is in the mix, the goal shifts. Here's the key difference. When he lashes out, it's often to control, shut you down, or punish you. It comes from a place of entitlement. When you react, it's coming from a place of desperation. You're not trying to overpower him. You're trying to stop the pain. You're trying to break through the wall he's built between you two. And here's one of the biggest signs: the aftermath. When the person hurting you says or does something cruel, he often brushes it off. He'll say things like, "I wouldn't have to yell if you weren't so sensitive," or "You made me do that." Then he goes to sleep like nothing happened. But you, when you snap, it wrecks you. You feel ashamed. You panic. You say sorry 100 times. You wonder if you're broken. You read self-help books. You make therapy appointments. You start saying things like, "I need help." Not help getting out, but help changing how you react. And you think, maybe if I could just stop losing it, things would get better. Let me be very clear. Most men who hurt their partners aren't sitting around worrying that they're abusive. But the fact that you are lying awake, terrified of your own behavior, that's a sign this isn't your true nature. It's a reaction to being erased. Now, this next one is really hard to spot, so pay close attention here. The scenario. Let's bring this down to something real. Because all of these ideas, the back and forth, the second guessing, the pressure to prove what you know happened, they can all feel pretty slippery. So let's walk you through one of the most common pokes I see in emotionally unsafe relationships. It's what I call the history rewrite. Here's how it plays out. He says something hurtful. Maybe he agrees to a plan. Later, maybe an hour, maybe a day, you bring it up. You say, "Hey, that really hurt me." Or, "Okay, I'm ready to go like we planned." And he looks at you, calm as can be, and he says, "I never said that. That's not what happened. You're making things up again." In that moment, your brain tilts because you know what you heard and you know what happened. So you push back. Yes, you did. You were standing right there in the kitchen when you said it. But he stays calm. That part's important. He stays still. He says, "You really need to get your head checked. Your memory's getting bad." Now your heart is racing because suddenly you're not just trying to explain something, you're fighting your own sanity. Because if he's right, if those things never really did happen, then you must be losing your grip. But if you're right, and he just flipped the story around, then he's lying to your face. Either way, it's terrifying. So you raise your voice. "Stop lying to me. Just admit it." He smirks, crosses his arms, says, "Look at you. You're hysterical. I can't talk to you when you're like this." And just like that, boom, you explode. You might scream. You might call him a liar. You might slam a door, and the trap closes. Now he says, "This is why I can't be around you. You're so unstable." Do you see what just happened? Conversation is no longer about what he said. It's now about how you reacted. He shifted the focus from his behavior to yours. He no longer has to take responsibility for the comment, the broken promise, or the pain he caused. Now it's all about your anger problem. This isn't a marriage issue. This is a way of staying in control. This last one gives me chills. Using your reaction against you. Once you've reacted, once you've screamed, cried, or lost your cool, that moment sticks. Not necessarily on camera, but in the story of the relationship. He'll bring it up for years. "Remember that time you threw the keys? I have to walk on eggshells around you. You might blow up again." And all that does something heartbreaking. You start to shrink. You start to question every feeling you have. You think, if I could just stay calm, if I can be perfect, if I don't react, we'll be okay. But here's the hard truth. You can't calm your way out of emotional harm. You can't be quiet enough, kind enough, or careful enough to stop someone who's set on poking you. Because if you don't react to the first poke, he'll just poke harder. He'll push until you finally break because he wants the explosion. That way he can point to your outburst and say, "See, this is the real problem." If you're hearing this and you feel the sting behind your eyes, if part of you is thinking, "Oh my God, this is exactly what happens to me," I need you to hear this loud and clear. You are not crazy. You are not a monster. You are a human being doing her best in a survival environment. The anger you carry, it's not the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. It's the part of you that still knows deep down, this isn't okay. I matter. I will not disappear. Give yourself some grace for how you responded. This wasn't you being awful. This was you trying to stay afloat. And now that you're seeing it more clearly, now that the fog is lifting a little bit, you can start moving from reacting to responding. From survival to safety, from shrinking to taking your power back. If one part of this hits you harder than the rest, that's often where the truth is waiting. If this video helped, but you still feel stuck in the confusion, this next one walks you through one question that can cut through all of it. It's simple, it's sharp, and it helps you come home to yourself. I'll see you there.